Well, we talked about in previous videos the slew of discounts that Disney has already announced for 2025 as they are preparing for Epic Universe opening from Universal Studios. And they are obviously going to be competing on massive discounts to try and get people to come to the Disney parks during this time period. And it seems we have another discount that was announced just today. So we're going to read through this article from Blog Mickey and talk about it. So hi, I'm Jared with Capture the Magic. And the article here again, Blog Mickey, is Florida resident $60 a day Discovery Disney ticket returns for 2025. Walt Disney World has announced that the Florida resident Discovery ticket has returned for winter and spring of 2025. Here's the announcement and details. As Florida residents ring in the new year, they can discover joyful moments at Walt Disney World Resort with the return of the 4-day Florida resident Discover Disney ticket. The Discover Disney ticket offers Florida residents 4 days to visit Walt Disney World theme parks for $60 per day plus tax. Total price is $240 plus tax. This ticket is available for purchase beginning January 7th for visits January 3rd through May 23rd with an advance park reservation. There's also a 3-day Florida resident Discovery Disney ticket for $225, which is $75 per day. Guests can use the ticket on non-consecutive days before it expires so they can spread the magic across. So you can you don't have to visit it all at one time. You could do it over a period of time there. Tickets are valid for one theme park per day. To offer flexibility, guests can upgrade their ticket with the Park Hopper or water park and sports options. So, I think I've said it before. I think Disney, when they need to, they rely on their annual pass holders and the locals. When they don't feel like they need to, they don't really get much love. But I definitely feel like the next few years, you're going to see Disney offering a lot of discounts for annual pass holders and Florida residents, as these are people that can come to the parks rather easily. They're close, and many of the annual pass holders obviously already have their tickets, taken care of, so they can offer them hotel discounts or they could offer them different types of discounts. But Disney historically, they've even, Chapek back when he was CEO, basically came out and let the cat out of the bag that the annual pass holders and the locals don't spend as much money. And they're looking at focusing on the families who come from out of town on a once-in-a-lifetime trip, as those people spend more money and do more things in the parks. And for that reason, and this is one of those things like people kind of assume Disney was already doing because they just, with the way they've always behaved this way. But whenever they do need to bolster their attendance, when they have competition, you've seen the past when the Wizarding World's open with Universal Studios, they do a lot of things to try and get the annual pass holders and the locals into the parks. But typically speaking, annual pass holders don't spend as much money because A, their ticket's already paid for. If they're local, they're probably not going to stay in a hotel. But if they do stay in a hotel, they may not eat all the food at Disney. Like, there's a lot of things that they don't do, locals and APs, compared to families. Let's say you're from Minnesota coming into Disney for a week. If you're on property the whole time, they're more than likely going to stay on property. They're going to eat most, if not all, their meals at Disney. Like, they're just going to spend more money generally, because also when you're on vacation in that way, a lot of people just, they splurge a bit more. They saved up for it. And locals and APs don't typically spend as much money. But when Disney needs them, they will offer them ways to come in. Now, that I think the question would be, people have already kind of known this. Even people that are pro-Disney and really don't want to look at Universal Studios will openly admit that Disney, they typically turn to the annual pass holders when they need to. But I think the overall fan sentiment with Disney is not near what it was 5-10 years ago. And I think the question for many of this is, are all the discounts they're going to run in 2025 to really try and lure people over to Disney, at the very least, in my opinion, to maintain the attendance levels? I know Disney's come out and said they think they're going to see a bump in attendance. I think if you look at the discounts they're offering, I don't think they believe that, because if they thought that they were going to see this bump in attendance from Epic Universe, I don't really think they'd be running all these discounts. So to me, that probably means the bookings aren't looking great. You start going toward May, June, July area as Epic Universe opens May 22nd. But if Disney really believed that they were going to see this bump from Epic Universe and they were going to be fine, I don't think you would see all these discounts. But the fact that they're running these discounts, especially toward APs and Florida residents, these are the people that you can get the easiest to come to your parks, because it's going to be really hard to convince somebody from out of state to spend a lot of money to come to Disney versus, get somebody that's a Florida resident, a nearby person. They maybe come down for a weekend or come down, they're in Orlando. Hey, okay, let's go to Disney for a couple of days. It's cheap right now. They can do a lot of these things to bolster attendance that way. I think the question is going to be, does all this hodgepodge of discounts that they're running, is it going to basically keep attendance levels, maintained, or are they going to see a bump like they think, or are they going to see a drop in attendance? Now, there's multiple scenarios in which this can play out, but I think from Disney's behavior, all these discounts we're already seeing. We're just a few days into January, and we're already seeing this slew of discounts that they're offering, which I honestly think they're going to see even more discounts announced, because I think you're probably going to see, if you look historically, the buy a day, get a day free, things like that. They have done these in the past. All of this in a way to probably ideally for them is to maintain attendance levels. And I've said many times, I think if Disney were to maintain their attendance levels, if they didn't really lose much, or they saw a 1% to 2% uptick in attendance, that would be a major win for them. Because I think the alternative could be that they see a massive hit on their attendance, because again, nobody really knows what Epic Universe's impact is going to be. I know people look at, analysts have said certain things. A lot of them are comparing the Wizarding Worlds when those first opened, the impact it had on Disney and Universal, but those were singular lands. Now, you can take some of that and you just sort of apply it to Epic Universe, but we haven't seen a theme park on this level open in about 20 years. So the landscape of theme parks is much different than it was then, and really nobody knows the overall impact that Epic Universe is going to have. So it potentially could have way more of an impact than even Disney or Universal is expecting. So for Disney to, act like that they know what's going to happen, or even, any of these analysts, I think they're all just making a perhaps a somewhat educated guess here. But if Epic Universe is this massive success, and I think it will be undoubtedly for Universal, I do believe that they will see a 40%, if not more, increase in their attendance from Epic Universe. So obviously Universal is going to have a big jump in their attendance in 2025. The question that everybody has is, how does that translate to Disney? Do they get hit? Do they lose significant amount of attendance from Epic Universe? Or, as Disney has said that they think is going to happen, they think they're going to have a spillover effect and they're going to see a bump in attendance. Time will tell on that, but I have a hard time believing, looking at the way in which people feel about Epic Universe and Universal Studios as a whole, and the way that people, the last few years especially, have kind of soured on Disney's branding and really their behavior with the theme parks and the things that they've done, and just offering discounts in 2025 as if that's going to be enough to really bolster their attendance. Now, perhaps it will work. I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying I have lots of questions, but I can see the scenario where Disney takes a pretty significant hit on their attendance. And I've asked this question multiple times. And if this happens, I don't know what cards Disney has left to play outside of even more discounts, because I've said all along, and I'm not surprised to see this, that Disney will be offering major discounts going into 2025. I think we're going to see even more even after the ones we've seen already. But if those don't work, I mean, Disney's left in a spot where they're just going to have to either discount things more, bring back perks, maybe Magical Express that they took away. Perhaps, I don't really think they would do it unless they got really desperate enough to bring back fast passes on some level, perhaps, or some sort of included multipass or Lightning Lane multipass if you stay at a hotel or something like that. Like, they could create more perks to really try and bring things back more on balance, how they were even 5-10 years ago. But I think this is a scenario where Disney has their stuff under construction, and again, in my opinion, for 5+ years before it's going to be open. We're looking at a very interesting time period here for Disney, because if these discounts don't work, I don't know what else they do. And I really don't. And again, they very well could be fine on attendance. They maintain it. People come over to Disney. Obviously Universal is going to see a big jump in their attendance and eat into market share. But Disney could come away rather unscathed, I suppose, potentially. I just have lots of questions about that. And I don't know if that is a likely scenario. I don't know if a drop in attendance is a likely scenario. All I'm saying is, from Disney's behavior and the discounts they're running, I don't think they believe the things they've been saying when it comes to attendance levels in the park. So I do bring in some question about that. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see as all of this shapes up closer to May 22nd. And like I said, I'm not going to be surprised one bit if we see even more discounts coming from Disney before Epic Universe opens, or shortly after Epic Universe opens. But either way, that's going to be it though for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all these discounts that Disney is running, and do you think it will be enough to maintain attendance levels going into 2025? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.